Ever since I was a kid, hyperfixations have always been a big part of my life. I was obsessed with this show called My Little Pony when I was younger, and I know that sounds cringe, but trust me, the show was actually so peak until it kind of went off hill. Even in my 20s, I'm still obsessed with things that I have a no normal amount of love for. I am obsessed with things to an unhealthy degree. That brings us to today's topic, where I'm going to be going over and going in depth on every hyperfixation I have ever had, and what I did with it, because I think it's funny. So the first one that I mentioned was My Little Pony. When I was younger, I was obsessed with this show, and I don't mean like I was just watching it. I was consuming media of it every single day of my 8-year-old little life. I mean, it was probably younger than that, but you know. I was also an aspiring artist at this time. I would look up like MS Paint My Little Pony bases and draw my shitty OC over it because I thought it was cool. And don't get me wrong, like doing that still in this day and age, go crazy. Like cringe culture is dead. Don't listen to what anybody else says. But the way that I did it was just I was so annoying about it. I thought I was the next Da Vinci, I swear. I don't know what I was doing at that age. The other reason why I was still obsessed with My Little Pony for so long was due to a lot of like the YouTube series that people were coming out with. There was like a ton of YouTubers that were coming out with like series of like them playing with My Little Pony toys and coming up with like some edgy backstory, and I thought that shit was peak. I can't even lie, like they used like fake blood and stuff, and I was like, damn, I want to do that, and I did. It didn't come out good, but I did it. Also, when I was younger, I had a friend at the time, shout out Clifford, love you Clifford so much, that I'm still friends with, and we would always like bring out our little My Little Pony toys and do little like skits with them. It was very good. The only complaint that I have about My Little Pony and its fandom was the bronies. And I know some of you saw this coming, but like they were a problem. When I was younger, I was so exposed to so many things that I shouldn't have seen, and I'm looking at that MOV video. I know we're all looking at it, and yeah, there was stuff like that. There was also like the Smile HD video. Like there was just so much stuff that was just so bad. And for those who don't know, My Little Pony is a show, or the one that I watched was Friendship is Magic, about the little rainbow horses running around and being friends and fixing problems with the power of friendship or whatever. So seeing people like make horror-esque gore videos of My Little Pony and low-key horny posting about the horses in the show was just something that I probably shouldn't have seen as a child and probably wasn't expecting to see. And the worst thing is too is that a lot of the posts that were like this were all disguised as like cute posts. Like Smile HD, for example, if anybody's seen that video, it's literally like My Little Pony Pinkie Pie killing all of her friends, but it was marketed as like a cutesy little animation, and it started out as one and then it turned into that. Honestly, it's one of the most iconic videos in the My Little Pony fandom, and if I didn't watch that stuff when I was younger, I probably wouldn't be the biggest horror fan today. And you know, maybe some good things came out of it. Probably not good that I watched it at the age of 8, but like, you know, good things came out of it. The next section is going to be about Animal Jam. And if you've never played Animal Jam before, honestly, good for you, but I was obsessed with this game when I was younger. It was the 2010s, and I was obsessed with games that were like online, like customizable games and stuff like that, like Club Penguin. It was kind of like that, but instead of penguins, you were animals. You were just like wolves, Arctic wolf. You were like, could be a Arctic fox. You could be a fox. You could be a bird. You know, all this stuff, and it was kind of cool for what it was. I could make a whole section about this, but I'm gonna try and keep it short to explain why I was obsessed with it. But there were so many things about Animal Jam that I possibly could just make a whole video on. So in Animal Jam, there were things called items, and they were things that you could like either customize your room with or customize your character with. There was colors you could customize your character with and everything, but we're mostly going to be focusing on the items. The items were things that you could either, like I said, decorate your house with or mostly decorate your character with. That was like the more popular ones that people would go for. And because of these items, a whole trading economy just sprouted out of nowhere. And that would have been great, like, you know, having that as like a little mechanic is awesome, you know, trading items that you don't want for items that you do want, but the way that the Animal Jam community went about it was just so crazy. When I was playing, the spike collars were the most rare thing you could have besides headdresses, but we don't talk about the headdresses because they're their own thing. And because of this, you would be trading literally everything to get a spiked collar. And mind you, there was multiple color variants of these spike collars, with the black spike collar being the most rare and sought out item. I was an emo back then, so I was like, damn, kinda need that black spike collar, can't lie. Then to top it off as well, there was also spike wristbands, and then there was like other beta items. There was like a whole bunch of stuff. And like everything, just to like put this in retrospect, everything was calculated by the amount of black spike collars it was worth. That's how like detrimental these spike collars were to this economy in this game. And I would spend days on end trading my items and everything just to get this spike collar in this virtual game. It was like life or death, I swear. I was obsessed with this idea of getting this spike collar. Spoiler alert, I didn't get one until like maybe like I started like falling out of the game right after I got one. It was like a year or two later after I was on the hunt for it. So I got it and then I just kind of stopped caring for the game. Besides trading though, the game was not really anything else. It was more of like a social game, and the trading really had like a backbone in the community. A lot of the other things that people did on this game was like do cringe warrior cat role plays or just role plays in general. That brings me to the next section where I talk about how remember how I said at the beginning of this video that cringe culture is dead? Yeah, we're gonna apply that here now. The furry fandom is one of the biggest fandoms that I think still exists from when I was a kid. And I think it's more stronger now than it was back then. But Animal Jam segued me into being a furry at the age of like 11 or 10. I used my Animal Jam character as my fursona, and she was really, really ugly. I can't even lie. Like, the colors were just disgusting. I'm sorry to any like people who like this color palette. I am so sorry, but it was gross. And I literally like was drawing wolves every single day that I could. And trust me, I had a heart attack when I found out what fursuits were, and I wanted to make one so bad. I had no experience with sewing at all. I had no idea how to sew things. So making a fursuit for me was kind of out of my reach. I also just didn't have the money to commission somebody because fursuits can go for a very high price. If you guys don't know the prices of fursuits, they can go for like upwards of like thousands of dollars. And little old me didn't have that kind of money. And I didn't want to ask my parents about that because why would I? And that didn't stop me from asking for a fursuit base. I asked for a base for Christmas one year and I ended up getting it, and I was stoked. I was so excited. I put that thing on without any fur on it and I was like, yep, I'm ready to go. I'm so excited. I can't wait to start working on this thing. The week after, I went to Joann Fabrics and I picked up a bunch of brown fur because that was the color of my character. And going into this, like, the lady was asking me like, oh, what kind of measurements do you need and everything. I had no clue. I was like, whatever works, you know? Oh my gosh. My poor dad had to drive me home and I had like bags and bags of just fur fabric in the back, and it was getting all over his seats and everything, and I could tell he was super jolly about that one. But as soon as I got home, I walked into my room, placed everything down, and I was ready to start working. And something that I will mention about myself, I do not like going after tutorials for some reason. I like figuring out things on my own. I don't know why, it's just the way that I learn. So you can imagine that I didn't look up any tutorials, I just kind of went into it. And I didn't know that I should probably like tape my foam first and measure every piece and, you know, mark it on the fur that I was cutting. You know, for a first time, it wasn't that bad, but it was held together with hot glue and a dream, and it looked a little scary, but it wasn't that bad. I don't have any photos of it because I didn't take any photos, but yeah. I was proud of it. I felt like I did a really good job with it, and then when I went to go put it on, there was fur all inside of the mask, so every single time I was breathing in, I was getting, like, stabbed by little fur particles. And, you know, that wasn't really that bad for me. I didn't really care, but it was so heavy on my head. It was like actually giving me a headache if I wore it for longer than like 10 minutes, so that was something cool. And then the one thing that finally phased me out of being a furry was the fact that I went to a furry convention in a city that I was close to. I've been to anime conventions because I was kind of a cosplayer, not really, back at the time, and I was going with my dad and stuff, and it was a good time, so I was thinking that a furry convention wouldn't be any different. Well, it was a lot of grown people who were way older than me, and there wasn't a lot of merch that I wanted to buy because, you know, I'm more of a fandom person rather than a hobbies person. And also the people at the convention were just kind of rude and not really nice, so part of me just kind of left that, you know, hobby behind me. I tore apart my fursuit because I got told it looked bad, and I don't know, it kind of crushed me when I was younger. I've tried going and like trying my hand again at fursuit. Like when I was in freshman year, I ended up buying this like skull mask and stuff, and I was going to try my best to like kind of make it into something that I wanted to do, but I ended up selling it like a year later. Anyways, our next section is this game has literally made an imprint on my life. Portal 2 is one of my favorite games, and that will probably never change. My dad's a big gamer, and when I was younger, he would play a lot of like games on his computer and stuff. Now all he plays is Fortnite, which honestly banger. Shout out to my dad. And because of this, one time I saw him playing this game with a portal gun and some white walls, and I was like, what game is that? And he said it was Portal. And when I was younger, the only games that I knew were Minecraft, Club Penguin, and Roblox and Animal Jam. So seeing him play this game made me like really interested, and I really wanted to try it out. When the Xbox 360 released, they actually came out with a disc version of Portal 2, and that was my first introduction to playing it. I literally have no idea what made me so excited to play this game because I hated puzzles when I was younger. I like them now. Puzzle games are fun. But back then I was just so against doing puzzle games. Well, the thing that probably roped me into it was that there was a blue-eyed robot that I thought was really cool, and I honestly cherished his character, and I still do. I still hold him very dear to my heart. Oh, Wheatley, Portal 2, how I miss you. But I used to play this game almost every day. I would hop on to the family Xbox in the living room and just crank out a few puzzles and feel good about myself after. It helped that the game also had a lot of funny dialogue, and the characters were really memorable, and honestly, it's, like I said, a game that I probably will never hate. And it honestly got me into gaming. Like, I could see how different games could be that were out of my little circle, and if it wasn't for that game, I probably wouldn't be doing what I do now. And also, this is kind of cheesy, but it's like a game that I hold dear because my dad showed me it, and it's something that brought me closer to him as well. Alright, and the next game on our roster is obviously you knew Undertale was gonna be here at some point. Come on, I mentioned all the other like cringe kid games. Come on, you know, it had to be there. Undertale was one of the games that also got me really into storytelling games and really broadened my horizons for games that I would be willing to play. The friend that I mentioned at the beginning of this video was the person who kind of was the backbone of like why I wanted to play this game so much. I remember so vividly us sitting in their room and we were just on their laptop like going through the game and everything. It was awesome. It had so much range for voice acting, and it was just a fun time to play with somebody. Not to mention as well, the fandom surrounding this game at the time when it came out was just generally like the most creative people I have ever seen. There were so many animations and so many like YouTube skits and videos and funny videos that like I found awesome, and I would stay up watching them all night. It was so bad. The only complaint I have about this fandom is that it made me so cringe. I had such bad humor back then, so yeah, that's my only complaint. This topic actually segues us to if you guys weren't a part of the animation meme community when you were younger, honestly, good for you. But I was a little bit into it, I can't lie. So this section might be really random and out of the blue, but it literally, like, is in the middle of me being a furry and into Undertale. But animation memes were, like, 20-30 second videos of simple animations to a song or a music clip. We see these now a lot more on TikTok. They've become very, very popular now on TikTok, but they were very different in like the past. It was like 2017 around this time, and they were very different. A lot of them consisted of like fursonas or, you know, people's furry OCs dancing to these music clips and stuff, and it was really cool to see like what people would come up with. It's a whole community-based thing. Like, people would come up with an idea and then people would make more animations of that other person's idea. It was really cool and really interesting. Oh god. I was part of this. I would make animations and they would be so bad. I used this like video editing software that nobody's ever heard of, and it had very basic transitions. It looked like Windows Movie Maker, but like with a little bit of extra pizzazz. So yeah, back then I wasn't the greatest artist, and I also couldn't animate, so my videos were really bad. But I also wouldn't have continued to draw if it wasn't for that. Okay, now I'm gonna segue to the more modern ones that I've been into. Fast forward to 2020, I was stuck in my house and I was still in middle school, just getting out and about to become a freshman. Depression was at an all-time high. I had no games to kind of keep my mind at bay because I was so stressed out about schoolwork. Then I found a game that I bought at GameStop for like $5, and that game was called Danganronpa V3. I was obsessed with Danganronpa for the longest time. I booted it up and I finished it within a month. I have no idea what like compelled me to do that, but I mean, it got me to where I am today. If you guys don't know, the Danganronpa fandom was literally booming in 2020. Around this time, cosplayers were very common, and there was a lot of Danganronpa cosplayers on TikTok. And because of this, I became a Danganronpa cosplayer. I tried to be so professional with my cosplays, and this was my first time ever like trying to actually cosplay. I'd buy and style wigs off of Amazon, and the styling I did was not great, but I got better at it. I also was introduced to makeup around this time, and I had no idea how to use makeup. I never really wore makeup, so this was a whole new thing for me. I didn't really worry about popularity at the time. I was posting on my personal TikTok, and I was just doing it to have fun, and cosplaying turned into something that I really enjoyed doing. Funny enough, Danganronpa actually opened my eyes to how much I like solving like cases and stuff, so I kind of like studied like law for a little bit because of this game.
Osmanthus wine.
Genshin is next on our list because obviously it's Genshin. I played Genshin in 2020 as well. I wasn't that obsessed with it until I got my first 5-star. I started playing around the time Xiao was released, so you can kind of get an idea of like how long ago I started playing. I don't even know why I liked this game. I didn't know how to build characters at the beginning. The story bored me. Exploration games were not my thing at all, but I enjoyed playing it with friends when we would grind domains together and try to pull for the characters that we wanted. Genshin still is a game that I play today. I still play it. I know how to build characters now. I have some crazy insane builds, but I don't get as hyped anymore for the story when there's new regions releasing and stuff. I just don't care for it as much as I used to, but I was really obsessed with it for a while. I had a few posters. I had a good few Ganyu keychains laying around my room. I was was in it. This game actually got me into horror as a genre, which I hate to admit because the game is not scary at all. It's more rage-inducing than scary, but I rest my case. This game actually was like my hyperfixation before Danganronpa and Genshin, but I kind of just forgot to mention it, but it was a really big role in my life. I met so many people that I still talk to today through this game, and I cannot be more grateful. I would stay up so late with these people and play Dead by Daylight from like noon to midnight. It was crazy. I was a Jake Park main. I loved breaking hooks and everything. It was like my favorite thing. I made a Discord server for this game, and we amassed like so many people who were collectively also into this game as well. And a lot of these people, like I said, are people that I still talk to. My best friend that I met through this server when we were like literally babies are still friends now. And I also have another friend that I ended up actually meeting in person at Universal one year. I also met two people who like actually raised me when I was younger on the internet, and I still hold them dear to my heart even though I don't talk to them much anymore. These people actively changed my life, and I cannot like thank them enough for being here. And if I didn't play that game, I wouldn't have like been here with these people, and I don't know, it's just they really mean a lot to me even though I don't talk to them much anymore. The game also got me into, like I said, horror franchises, because if you don't know, Dead by Daylight has crossovers with popular horror franchises, which got me into one of my hyperfixations on the Halloween 2018 movie. I love Michael Myers so much. He's my favorite slasher, and honestly, I don't know, I have Dead by Daylight to thank for that, I guess. This next one is another Dead by Daylight-esque game, but oh my god, I love it so much more than Dead by Daylight. Identity V is a game that is almost exactly like Dead by Daylight, but with Coraline dolls, and I think it's awesome. The game has such crazy lore. They've actually reworked it now from when I used to play it, and it's a lot more interesting now, and it has a very, like, interesting dark story, and I honestly love it. Not to mention as well, all the characters have their own set backstories as well, and a lot of the items are character specific in this game, so you have to learn how to play different characters if you want different items. Whereas in DVD you can mix perks and you can kind of experiment. It doesn't matter what character you play. In Identity V, it actually matters what character you play. I actually adore this game. This game has been with me since 2020 as well, and honestly, like, it's one of my favorite games still to this day. I also still have to play it because I spent a egregious amount of money on it, but we don't talk about that. Alright, now we're going to go into a rapid round before I talk about my ultimate hyperfixation at the moment, which I think if you know me, a lot of you can guess what it is. This one is a very old one, but Five Nights at Freddy's was another one that really changed me when I was a kid. It was another one that I watched on YouTube called Half-Life VR, but the AI is self-aware. That's a YouTube series made by a streamer, and it was something that I was like deeply obsessed with for like a good few months. Serial Experiments Lane is another one. That one's an old anime, and if you haven't watched it, you should. It literally changed my view on life and everything. Neon Genesis Evangelion, that's another old one, but if you haven't watched that one, watch that one too, because that one's crazy. Stranger Things was another one I was extremely obsessed with, but who wasn't obsessed with Stranger Things when it came out? Needing Streamer Overload, that one's kind of newer, but it's a nice psychological horror game where you take care of a mentally ill streamer, and it talks about a lot of topics that some games are scared to talk about. Vocaloid is another one. I absolutely love Vocaloid. I've tried making my own Vocaloid music. I've been obsessed with old Vocaloid ever since I was younger, and it is something that, honestly, I cannot speak any ill of. All the music artists are literally insane, and I love how every single song tells a story. Well, most songs. And finally, Goodnight Pun Pun, which is a manga that is, like, it's literally insane. It actually ruined my life after I read it, but it was really good, and I still love that manga more than anything that I've ever read. And finally, the last hyperfixation that I am currently stuck on to this day. Can we get a drum roll, even though the people who watch me normally already know what it is, and I think you can probably guess what it is? Let's hear it, let's hear it, let's give it up for Persona 5! I know, so shocking. My sprite is Persona 5 based. You probably could have guessed it from the beginning of this video. But Persona 5 is one of the biggest medias that I have consumed and have been into for such a long period of time. I've been obsessed with this game for over 3 years now, and it's something that I just haven't been able to let go of. The game is around 100 hours long, and that is extremely long for me. I never finish games, but by some miracle I finished this one, and thankfully it did. This game has such a big imprint on my life, and all the characters and everything I hold so, like, dear to me. This was like the first media that I've ever run into that I found a character that really does speak to me, and that's Goro Akechi. I'm sorry. This is the first game that I've ever run into where I actually love all of the main cast, and everybody is just, like, I have something to favor about every single one of them. This is also the first, like, turn-based game that I've ever played, and I got really good at it within, like, the first few months that I started playing it, which is really bad because I already memorized every single Shadow's weakness. Like, I don't know what my problem is. I don't know how I can't remember a conversation I had 5 minutes ago, but I can remember that, like, this guy is weak to fire. Like, what is this? I have so much merch of this game. I'm planning on doing a figure tour soon because that's one of the goals that we hit on our subathon. So I'm probably going to give a little tour of all my Persona 5 little goodies that I have, and you'll see that it is not a normal amount. All things aside, though, it's like one of my favorite games, and probably will be for another few years. It's been 3 years already. What's a few more? Well, I appreciate you guys watching and listening to my hyperfixations video and how cringe I was as a kid and how cringe I am now, and that's okay. We love being cringe in this household. We love it. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys so much for watching and being here and listening, and I will probably be uploading another video soon, I hope. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Okay, bye! I don't usually do end card stuff, but here I am. I'm going to be doing a little end card here, but I hope you guys don't mind how, like, stupid and cringe this video was. I know I went over, like, some really cringe fandoms and stuff, but that's like so okay. I just I don't know, some people are, like, mean on the internet about people's interests and stuff, and that's stupid. You shouldn't be mean to people for what they like. That's dumb. I also wanted to say we have an art contest going on here as well. I posted all the details in the Discord and Twitter, so if you want that, join the Discord and Twitter. They'll be in the links, I promise. I'm gonna just quickly use this section here to also thank the subscribers to Patreon and one of the subscribers of Ko-fi. I actually turned off my Ko-fi subscriptions, but I haven't had a chance to shout them out, so here they are now. I just want to say thank you to Sophia and Unholy and Shizuka. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and, like, subscribing to my extra stuff. Like, I really appreciate it. It really means a lot. It helps me so much and, like, really supports what I do, so I really do appreciate all the extra support. It means so much. I post VR chat avatar tutorials on Patreon, so if you're interested, you should go definitely check out the Patreon. I'm also going to be starting to, like, record some, like, extra, like, videos for Patreon that are, like, YouTube style-esque videos, and yeah, I also upload all my old VODs from Twitch onto Patreon, so if you're interested in that, you guys should join the Patreon. Anyways, I'm probably gonna end this now. Okay, goodbye, guys. Goodbye.